Good day. It is Monday, July 20th. First day back at work, starting at my normal time, and I am quite glad that I had just under half a day. Because, yeah, actually, for one, getting back to my normal job, figuring that all out, and then also just having to work. For the last week and a half, I've gotten up and I've had like a little over 3 hours before I actually have to go work. Now I'm like just over an hour. But I made it through, and I had a few hours at work, and I had a short day because I had quite a while when I was helping the training department. I couldn't take time off for like a week and a half, and I'm used to taking one, maybe a little more than one day off each week. No days were available to take off completely this week, so I just took off part of a few days, including today. And one of the things I want to do today is I want to do some work in my kitchen. And I'm sure you've seen my kitchen before and been like, what are you talking about? It's usually a total mess. You don't even have a mound of dishes. And the garbage is mostly, ignore that, just boxes. So, what are you talking about wanting to do? Well, I have my pantry here. I still need to clear out some stuff on the bottom, but that can take time, and it'll be fine to have room to grow. So, it doesn't really matter. But I've cleared out some spaces up here, and also I've taken the stuff that's been in front of it, and some of it moved back there. See, this table has effectively been being used as my pantry for quite a while. That's not the goal. This is the pantry, this entertainment center. This is the table. So one of the things is I want to actually get the stuff in here. Now, some things, like I have my crock pot in here, and as part of all that I've done, I've moved the mixer over here. I also want to have some things that are in here that are easy for me to get to and use. For example, maybe the crock pot being all the way at the far end isn't the best. Maybe I want things that I don't use as often at the far end. I'll just want to think about that. So there's that. And then there's also stuff on the other end. Now, I have stuff in drawers and cabinets. There's pans and cleaning stuff. All this I'm not doing right now. I'm focusing more higher up. I want to be able to keep this clear. I would like my counter to remain clear. But it doesn't. I mean, right now, that bottle's fine because that's a project I have to do in my car that I've needed to do for a few months. This, I guess, can go in the fridge or floor. But I put this stuff, my, wallet, spare battery, keys, business cards, mask, depending on where I'm going, hand sanitizer. It all just gets sat there on the counter. As does mail, generally. When I first moved in, when I first got the place and was getting things ready to move in, one of the things I quickly discovered, because I was working on things, so I needed to keep all that stuff out of the way, was that this was a great spot to put my everyday carry stuff. It was great. And I'd made the thought, perhaps the comment, I haven't watched those vlogs in quite a while, gee, I would really like to leave it where it could do that. But as I moved in and I just put stuff where I found spaces, I ran out of spaces and I ended up with stuff there. Because there are things that I needed easy access to. Now, also, as I've lived here, I've found there are things that I access more than I thought, or not as often as I thought, or things have changed. For example, these are all my little containers for, packing food up that I used to use very much, but now that I'm working at home, I use very occasionally. So I'm going to find somewhere else for those, move this stuff up, and return this to a spot where I can put my everyday carry stuff. Other things, I don't know if this is the best place for the lids. I can reach it pretty well, so it's probably fine. I don't particularly like my cutting boards that I rarely use being there because they like to fall. And I do not like this being right here because right here is where I put the container where I store my, where I bake and then also store my buffalo chicken dip. And I don't like it whenever I have to get it being right next to this cutty bit. And I barely ever use that thing, so I don't need that. So easy to access. Going to the other end, I have some things I never use right here. This side is completely empty. That's a great spot for more stuff that I never use, though. In here, I might move some things around a bit, because I actually don't use these almost ever. I use these baking pans more frequently, in fact. So I might actually just kind of switch those, because I don't use my cups. The main cups that I use are these. And they may actually stay on this table, because I'm pretty happy with that, but I don't know. But I am much more likely to use disposable cups, because no dishes. Let's close what I've discussed already. Help my brain figure out what I've left to talk about. Then on this middle shelf, I have the lids for all these containers. These containers, I tend, when I make a batch of tea, a lot of it goes in my container there. Actually, I need to make another batch of tea. And then I usually make about 2 bottles. Easier if I want to have some tea and I'm laying in bed or whatever. If I need to grab it really quick, like while I'm working and I'm between calls and I want to run, grab it, and go back to my desk, I don't have to take the time, pour it, set it off on the counter so it's not on my work desk where I'm going to bump into. Just easier things. So I like to have a couple of them. But I need maybe 4, maybe 6. Really, I need to replace all of them because those bottles are old and many of them are warping. Most of the warping ones are probably the bottom. But anyways, so those probably need to be replaced. But at this point, I can cut down on the number and maybe store the lids in the container. Bob's salt and Bob's pepper that he left here can probably go wherever I end up with extra random spices going. So yeah, there's stuff to move there. I use these bowls fairly often. I use the strainer fairly often. I maybe use the bacon microwave thing once. So that can go somewhere less often. I use, of these spices that don't fit on a spice rack, I use, salt and pepper and crushed red pepper. And for occasional recipes, maybe vanilla. But I'll probably organize them where the few things I use are in front and everything else is behind them on one shelf. And instead of having some of the stuff up there, I also have spots behind all of these that I've just left empty because you can't access it. But I got things I don't really need to access. And I'm thinking I might leave it as is for these bowls, but I use these often now. I use real plates a lot more than I used to. I used to always use freaking paper plates, but I'm getting to using real plates more. But I might try and work it where the bowls and all the serving stuff is just one side, and the cooking stuff, so those bowls, measuring things, is the other side, I think. Just so that I know, because far too often I need a bowl, and my brain will just reach for a cabinet. No, not that bowl. This bowl. So I'm thinking I want to move it for that. And then there's things like on the table, like a lot of these things have spaces over here, but like the vinegar, like I've never have had a spot for giant thing of vinegar, because I mean technically that's a cleaning product is why I have it, but it's also a cooking product because vinegar is weird. Those need to go in the closet. And there we go. I've at least gotten things started. Fortunately, I had that nice spot already prepared in there for where I knew that would go, because I knew it was going to need to be put away. But I'm going to just start messing around, moving things, see what I like, see what I don't. Try and get the place looking a little nicer. And I spent 3 hours of the last 4.5 hours working on the kitchen, and I'm pretty pleased with it. Also, I mean, just the fact that that's all the time it took, it went through quicker than I thought it might. Admittedly, I'd already done some of that stuff back there, but for one, we're down to just the napkins and cups on the table, because this thing is full of food like it's supposed to be. I ended up deciding actually this second side over here will be stuff. So slow cooker, stand mixer, deep fryer. I put the coffee maker, can opener, and cutting boards all up in there because I don't really use them very often, so they're kind of stuffed over there. And theoretically, at some point, I should actually get those listed on eBay, Craigslist, whatever. It's all the Loot Crate stuff that I don't want to keep. That a year or two ago, I separated out into boxes to sell. I just haven't done it yet. So, you know, someday. Then I got up here, whatever, we have our oils, vinegar behind that, rice, easy to get to, and baking things like brown sugar and flour and such. Here is mealy, foodie stuff, whatever. The chips, mac and cheese, stuffing mix. Then this row is just like snacks. They're popcorn, peanuts, cookies, whatever. I ended up with, I have a few more of these, but then ramen. These I used for work, and now that I'm not going in, they just kind of sit around. But I'll slowly get through them. And then whatever, bread and stuff, and then canned goods. So yeah, so we got all that, and then also on this end, of course, I just have rice maker, toaster, still over here. But those could switch out with some of the things over here over time. Periodically, I can switch them, kind of thing. That cabinet actually stayed the same because I didn't need more space for things that I don't use. This one, the pans from up top came down, so I can get to them very easily. I just pared down what I have in these so that I could keep the lids in the same container. And the cups got stashed in several rows. Normal cups, mugs, extra. My water filter got put up there, as did that thing, so it's just out of the way. But there's room to put more stuff. Lids ended up here. So lids and strainers. So that's different. It will take me a little bit, I am positive, to remember where things are. But I think I've made decisions that in the long run I will be happy with. Tupperware all got stuffed right up there. Here's odd things. The extra timer, since I usually use my Google device egg products, potato microwaver thing, and mixer. And then spices are here. But most of them are either salt or pepper. Various different types of salt. A couple different kinds of pepper. Because most of my other spices are over there. In this, I did go with this side alone is plates, big and small. My smaller bowls, larger bowls, This side is just serving. This side is preparation. Measuring things. I put the rice paddle up here so it doesn't collect dust like it did when I'd store it on top of the rice maker. And all the things that used to be up top, little bitty ramekins of different sizes and things, all kind of just got stuffed back there because I never use it. Glass bowls, and then the plastic mixing bowls up there. So, I put my trivets here because a lot of them used to just store on the counter or on top of the fridge. The ones on top of the fridge collected dust and never got used. The ones on the counter look kind of gross. Actually, these three are new, and I could replace the 3 old gross ones, but I'm like, they're not too bad yet. And then there's that bacon tray. So essentially, I will probably end up with the trivets that I usually use out on the counter again, where I need them, but then I at least have somewhere to put them away when I want to. So that stuff probably, I figure, won't be accessed very often. And the reason behind all of it, I got everyday carry stuff here. Mask, wallet, keys, pen. It's right there. Enclosed off of the counter, as long as I can keep it up. And then I actually had these little bins, so I put them around. Instructions on how to use some of the products I have back here, and then recipes in front of it. Although I do have a new recipe box Mom gave me for like index card recipes, and no recipes in there. I plan eventually to start moving some onto there. For now, recipes are right there. This is things like the hand sanitizer that I only occasionally bring with me. This is gift cards. I thought nice to have a nice spot to store gift cards so that I can remember them when I'm leaving the house. And then the stuff that was here got moved up. Aluminum foil, wax paper, plastic wrap, Ziploc bags, and then a little bit of stuff, the toothpicks and such, got moved up next to the paper plates. I got things all reorganized. And I mean, there may be further reorganizing bits that happen over time, but I made incredible improvements. The ability to try and keep this table clear so that it can either be a table for puzzles, like I wanted when I first moved in, or a table, if ever, heaven forbid, I would want to eat at a table. But right now, if I wanted to, I could. I don't. I want to eat in the main room so I can watch TV, but I could. So I got that cleared. And also, just when I bring groceries in, I like to be able to set them somewhere to put them away. Now, instead of setting them there and just leaving them there, I can actually put them away. And then also really just getting that counter clean should help with the mental health. But yeah, so made a fair bit of progress in making the house nicer. And it is now 8:30. It's Monday. Of course, didn't game with my buddies. Austin's still saying he's feeling fine, but he's still, of course, definitely isolating. And as for my own isolation, now that it's been a full 14 days since I've seen him, I can, if I need to go get groceries or pick up fast food. The number of times I've just wanted to go get fast food because it's easier in the last few days. But I can do so now. I just have, made one of them frozen pizzas for tonight because until 8:30, I wasn't exactly sure when they left a couple weeks ago, but it's usually like between 8 and 8:30, so I figured I would at least wait until then, as per the CDC's request of contact with someone who tested positive, wait 14 days. And of course, as all likelihood, Austin, came in contact with it, half a week after he'd even hung out with us. So I didn't even find out until most of that time had passed. But still, once I did, took the proper precautions because seemed like the proper thing to do. Still, eat my dinner, get ready, go to bed, work again tomorrow. Man, it's like I'm doing the same thing every day. I don't know. Thank you for joining me. Joining me as my journey continues.